Okay. I'm going to start out today by going to our Jamboard. Whoops. There it is. And all I have done, I have put together the Jamboard. And I'm going to copy this. Somebody give me a thumbs up and let me know if you can see the link that I just sent out. Okay, good. So you guys can follow along. Same link we had before, but I just wanted to make it easy for you to take a look at. And what you'll see is I've added some more pages. So this is what we're going to do in the exercise so that when we break out, you'll have access to the Jamboard. You come back to this first slide, say, hey, what did he want us to do? You can do that right here. So we're going to create groups around the similar themes. We're going to provide names to those themes. We're going to kind of give them a headline or a title. And then we're going to break into groups and create insight statements around those titles. Then I'm going to put you in groups to provide feedback on those statements, right? So there'll be some iteration. And then we're going to bring those together and create one big statement and have an unveiling of what our classroom is going to be. Remembering too that our challenge question, how might we create a service-centered classroom community that promotes all of these different things, right? That's the part that you have answered, and we're going to start to put together as a group. So if we go to the second page here, right, and here is our question. And these are the themes that have been put together. And let me see if I can do this. Okay, that's a little bit better. So the first one, we've got these things that talk about failure and embracing the wrong, maybe wrong answers, right? Not being afraid to fail, taking leaps of faith. So there's some courage involved there. Those to me all look like they fit together. In the second group, it was really easy when acceptance is used in 3, but as I'm thinking about what acceptance means, well, tolerance and acceptance are similar to me. Most people agree with that. I mean, those are pretty similar terms. I think of welcoming in that context. Who put welcoming? Who selected welcoming?
It might have been me.
Anybody?
I don't really remember though.
Okay. All right. So the reason I would ask is because sometimes you'll get a term, especially a couple things, you may not know what the person's intent was. So if you're trying to categorize that, right, or put it together with other things and you're not 100% sure, and again, in one like this, there is some question in my mind, I would go back to the person who created it, right? Say, hey, what were you thinking here? Does this fit? Does this match your intention and what you meant? So Nick, let's pretend that you wrote this. And if you did, is your welcoming in terms of a sentiment, or is it the physical presence of welcoming people and you would give them hugs and have lights flashing?
Kind of like the sentiment. It's more like if you walk into a room and everyone already knows each other and like you're the outsider, you kind of like, they kind of have a separate conversation without you. So that's what I thought by welcoming, is like they'll add you into the conversation and like make sure everyone
accept you.
Yeah, accept you. That's a good word for it.
Okay. And okay, so that fits. I'll take it. And I think part of that acceptance, who put open mind?
I think I did.
Who was that?
Me, Juan.
Okay. What's your intent there?
I just wanted to say if they had different opinions or values, just being open-minded to how they grew up or the morals that they were taught. So just like not judging anyone by what they think is like I don't know, like not judging anyone for on like first like appearances. So just like being open to everything.
With your intent, open-minded, a good fit in a theme that includes things like tolerance and acceptance. Is that a good fit where I have it?
Yeah. I think I also put tolerance.
Okay.
So yeah.
I will say this, in all of the years I've done this, and it's been a few now, this is the first time I don't see it anywhere. I don't see the term non-judgment, which is fine, which is totally fine. I think we're getting at that, but you just brought it up, Juan, in kind of a description of what you were getting at, and it just dawned on me that this is the first time we've not seen that. Judgment is a very harsh word. That's one of the reasons I think that we see it when we're trying to create an environment. Support, help. Who put in positive criticism?
I did.
Addie, what did you mean by that?
I just mean like giving each other positive criticism, like on each other's work throughout the semester and like on our ideas. So like it's still positive in the sense that like we want to respect other people's ideas and opinions, but also like give helpful criticism at the same time.
Okay. Is this a good fit where I have it? In terms of helping and support?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, let's keep an eye on it, because if something else comes up, we can move it wherever we want. Cooperation, teamwork, camaraderie, friendship. Any issues with those? And then the last one, Carson, glad to have you, not a problem. And then the last one, confidence, self-confidence, self-assurance, and self-sufficiency. Who put in self-sufficiency?
I think I also put in self-sufficiency.
From a context, Nick, of confidence or independence? I'm trying to see if this self-sufficiency fits in and with the theme of confidence here.
Yeah, I was thinking more like independence. Like it's not just like two people coming up with the ideas the whole time, but like you'll be self-sufficient and you'll be able to contribute to the conversation.
Okay, and not feel self-conscious about doing that or concerned or fearful of doing that. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, all right, thank you. All right, so those were pretty straightforward, and I appreciate those of you that provided some additional insight there. We've got a couple other matches here, respect and patience. Those are things where you are kind of a way that you are treating another person or topic. Is there a place where respect would fit into our group? And please keep in mind too, when we're thinking about this, we are not necessarily trying to restrict or make a group narrow, right? This isn't necessarily a reductive question that I'm asking you. By the same token, I don't want to just put everything in and make it unwieldy. But if we put respect in, say, to the category above it, tolerance, open mind, welcoming, acceptance, does that add into and provide some more clarity? Or is it way off base? Maybe it should be its own thing or be in another place. And that's the question that I'm going to ask for all 6 of these as we move forward, because there's a number of options. They can fit into one of our existing groups, then be combined together into a 6th group, or they can be alone, and they might not necessarily be something that we carry with us moving forward. Any of those options is fine, but we just want to make sure that we're mindful about every piece of feedback and every idea here. So in terms of respect, Does respect fit with learning from failure and productive failures? Maybe not. Does respect fit with tolerance and acceptance?
Yes.
What are your thoughts there?
I would
Yes,
say
no?
so, and I would also add that it like in order to have teamwork and friendship and also support and positive criticism, you also have to have respect for like based on like you have to put aside what you think and what you think is correct and what you hold true and just like have this basic level of respect for everyone. So it would be, I would say mainly the tolerance group, but also I would think it's necessary for the teamwork and the positive criticism group.
Does anybody have another group that they would suggest for respect other than those two, other than the second and the coming from the left, the second and the fourth one?
I feel like respect.
Hearing none.
Well,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I think respect can like kind of fit into every single category here because it's kind of like just like I feel like a foundation for like a group dynamic. It's like you can't do any of them without respecting each other.
Okay. So I'm going to two kind of rules of theme building. Number one, and this is made pretty clearly in the book. So let's say, Juan, I believe you. I think these could go into both groups. If that's the case, you split them, right? So if this was one Post-it, we could very easily have one going both places. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Nothing wrong with that. If you can make a case to contribute to both, and Juan, you did do that, that's fine. But there are also some fundamental pieces that would kind of sit over the top, right? And so they might, again, I'll use the term that was suggested, a foundational piece. You have to have this for all of them to be there. Then maybe this isn't in a particular group, but maybe it refers to all of the groups. And so what I'm going to suggest, just so I can show you how this works, let's do that. Let's just, for right now, let's just keep it up top. And this is going to be an umbrella term. How about this term of patience? Where would patience fit? What are some options? What are some suggestions that you have? Yeah, Addie. Oh, you're on mute.
Sorry. I think that it would go well in the second group because it's very similar to tolerance and some of the other ideas like open-minded and acceptance. You kind of need patience to do anything.
So patience with people is your take on that. You'll be paid your colleagues and your people. Okay, Ethan, what do you think?
So there's a respect group, correct?
Well, we kind of put respect over the top. So that's going to be kind of a fundamental piece of what we're looking at here.
Oh, okay. Well, no, I was just
No, so let's follow the thought though. One of our other options was respect was a key component of this acceptance group and this teamwork and cooperation group. So if you're looking for a fit, that was the line of thinking from your colleagues just a bit ago.
Yeah, I was just gonna say it's like I feel like patience definitely is a big, kind of value or like respect. It goes under respect in a sense for a workplace. You need for your coworkers to give you, a sense of like patience and to be patient with you. That's just showing that they have respect for you and you would do the same for them. And you need respect all around the workplace in order to like have a full, like functioning, like creative environment. So, yeah.
So would you think that patience is a supportive characteristic or behavior of colleagues in the environment you're trying to create?
Yeah, I would say.
Or is it a component of teamwork and cooperation?
Yeah, I would say it's definitely supportive and a component of teamwork. Like it's something that, if you encourage patience, I feel like that can bring the best out of a lot of people, and in the end, bring the best out of what you're trying to complete and create. So, because you
How's
just,
that look?
oh yeah, looks good.
So if I split them, no, I mean, if that's the case, anybody thought on that, disagree, add to it? Okay. All right, let's go to some of these orphans down here. Accountability. Is there a place here where you would like to have accountability? Is there an easy fit for accountability in any of these 5 groups?
I would say teamwork. Sorry.
An accountable, a confident service-centered team is accountability. Is that your case?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would put it in the first group with the learning from failures thing, because I feel like you can't really like admit you failed unless you took accountability for it.
Okay.
But also in a teamwork, wouldn't you like learn from failures? Like if you collectively failed either independently or as a team? I don't know. I think they can all go together.
Well, and so Juan, I appreciate you smiling about saying that, but keep in mind that these all came from the same question. So the fact that they're all somewhat related should not be much of a surprise, right? So I'm with you on that, right? That's why the first ones, when you put them together, are pretty easy, but then these last ones are a little more challenging. Diverse opinions, supportive critiques. Where might that fit? Acceptance and supportive, tolerance, open-minded.
Yes.
Right? Patience. And what's interesting is that since we changed and added to this one, this becomes a better fit, right? So in terms of ideas and adding on, that wasn't as apparent this morning as it is now, right? Which is one of the reasons you want to do these one at a time. Advocate for yourself. Who put that one in?
I did.
Addie, what do you mean by that? Is there something up here that's similar to in your intent, or is it a completely novel
I think it kind of goes in the
endeavor?
fifth group because it's like advocating for your own ideas and kind of like putting your thoughts out there too. And like when you need help with something or want someone's opinion on something, reaching out to people instead of being quiet.
Yeah. So when we put self-sufficiency here, and then you listen to what Nick said about self-sufficiency, and then I hear your explanation, now all of a sudden that's a no-brainer, right? Which is one of the reasons that you would go out and you get the clarification, right? So that one became a lot easier too when we went through this. And then the last one is healthy competition. I do respect that. Who put that in there?
I did.
Okay. What do you have in mind there?
So I feel like in any, not only workplace, but like in the community, you have to have competition in order to drive yourself forward. And I put healthy because there's obviously it could be separated into different types. Like it could be like backstabbing and stealing ideas, but a healthy competition.
Ruthless.
Ruthless. You need teamwork, friendship, confidence, and camaraderie. So that's like my line of thinking. In order to better yourself, you need to have healthy competition.
Okay. So that's what we have. All right, so this is the next piece that I would like to do. So we have these 5 groups. On the subsequent pages, I have listed them. What I'm going to do is to break you in to 5 groups. And I'm going to ask you to do this. I'm going to ask you to create an insight statement based on your challenge question. And so, oh, actually, we're going to come up with themes for each of these. And so a good theme or a good title, something that has, it could even have one word, but 1, 2, 3, or 4 words that would describe the theme, right? So if you had these 6 things, how would you describe that? What would be the name of your theme? Okay, and then what we're going to do with name is we're going to plug it into this insight statement, a service classroom community that promotes respect, I'll just make one up, should include. And doing is you're defining that term. You can use some of the terms that your classmates have already suggested with the Post-it notes, but what you then get to do is talk about and define what that means to you. It can be in bullet points, it can be a short phrase or two. It shouldn't be a lot of sentences, right? It should be about, 8 to 12 words or a sentence or phrase. Okay, so number 1, creating a title. Number 2, creating your insight statement. Do that, all you do is plug in your title here and provide detail. Please note that when I put these together today, these are pictures because they don't let you cut and paste Post-it notes. So when I put you in your group, take a look at what I had there, and then you can simply add another Post-it note here when you get into the group. It should only be 1 or 2 each of them. And I will give you a couple minutes to go about doing. You all have the link so you can get in and do the work. So if everybody in your group goes to the page that they're on, that corresponds with their team, you can all do the work on that page. If you're unclear about the instructions, you can go back to page 1 and take a look. How are you with the instructions? Right, spend a couple minutes working on that. Okay, so let me do this. Okay, group 1. Group 1, which is on the 3rd page of this thing, right? Caroline, Evan, Sydney is group 1. Group 2, Carson, Isabella, and Juan. Group 3, Ethan, Hadi, and Oliver. 4, Abby, Addie, and Nick. And group 5, Alex and Alejandro. All set?
Oh.
Isabella, did you recall that stuff that got lost?
Yes, I just added it back. It was like, I don't know. But we got it back, don't worry.
Okay, this is what I'd like to do. Let's pull one up. I'm going to pull up group 5 here. We'll talk a little bit about confidence. Let's just go through one. And then what we'll do is we'll split you guys up into 2 groups. And then you'll provide feedback on each other's. Kind of, get some consistent language, and then we'll bring them all together. Okay? All right. So let me Okay. So this is what the fellows came up with. A service-centered classroom community that promotes confidence should include individuals that are confident in their ideas. Are there other things that the fellows could add here? And you can go and if you have an idea, maybe throw up a Post-it note, or if you want to use text below, you can do that. What are some things, right? So this is a yes and type of a question. So it includes individuals that are confident in ideas and what else? Or you may say, man, that really incorporates how I think about confidence, and that's good. That's fine too. But what else might we include there?
Maybe helping others find their own confidence as well as having your own.
Okay. Did I get that right? Was that the question, I think? Okay, what else?
Maybe like confident in their ability to share their ideas.
Okay. So it would include individuals that are confident in their ideas. I like it. What else?
Maybe like creating an environment where one can feel confident to say something.
Okay. What else would somebody want to add up there? So where we're going here, I've only seen 2 Post-it notes and 2 statements. So the individual is confident in their ideas, but we also have a responsibility to make other people confident as well. That's kind of where we're going here, right? Helping others, creating an environment where people are confident to say something. So if we were to do this and I was to take this feedback, I would say, okay, how is it that we can now incorporate these pieces into the statement that was already there? So a service-centered classroom community that promotes confidence includes individuals that are confident in their ideas and promotes the ideas of others. And now we're really reductive, because now you might say, well, Dr. Ramani, Bill, I'm not really sure about promote. Is there a better word that we can use for promote? But this is the give and take now of this statement. And so if I told you service-centered classroom community that promotes confidence, what does that mean to you? It's individuals that are confident in ideas and promote the ideas of others. This is a Jesuit institution. We'll try to be mindful of grammar. That's the process that I'm going to have you go through. And so what I'm going to do now, makes sense? Then we're going to pull them all together. And then what you'll find is that there's some common themes or some common language. Those are the things that go to the top. So we'll have a descriptive statement on top, and then we'll have bullet points that'll define what that classroom is going to look like. We already think that that general statement up top is going to include respect, right? Because from what we heard earlier on, there's a sentiment that respect oversees all of these pieces. I would agree with that. I want to be in a classroom where respect kind of permeates through everything. Someplace I want to work, right? So I'll do now. What I've done is created 2 rooms. Groups 1 and 2, you are together in room 1. So you can take turns sharing your idea and giving feedback, give you a minute or 2 to do that and then switch. Group 3 and 4, you are in room 3. And then, was it Evan and Alejandro in group 5? I've split you up to provide feedback, or no, it was Alex, sorry about that. Alex and Alejandro, I've split you into group 1 and 4, so you can add feedback to the other groups now that we've been through yours, okay? Go. Got it, Ethan? It's all right, give it a second here. It's all right, probably connectivity issue, we'll get it. All right, let's try this if you're still with. Log out of the meeting and jump back in, and then I'll just put you into the room. Get it? Yeah, there you go. Okay, so think about this. You created themes, you named your themes, provided an idea, and you better defined your themes and how these contexts and how these ideas were going to go together to address an overall challenge question. And then you've had a chance to iterate, right? And provide feedback to each other and help develop and maybe tweak your wording and what they meant. And so providing feedback. And since you're all users here, right? You're all quite invested in this. You're all in a position to provide that feedback. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to put all of those statements together. And then the next step will be, let's see what's similar between the four of them. We'll pull those similarities out on the top to create a general kind of guiding statement. And then the pieces that you defined and the statements that you made under each theme will be bullet points that define the themes. And we will have an overarching kind of a mission statement with a definition of what that means to this class and how you're going to move forward. Okay. And so if I was the facilitator of a company and we were just doing a design thinking exercise on the culture that you wanted, that would be my role as the facilitator, right? I'm pulling things together and then putting them back out to you all for further feedback and interaction. And I'll do that over the weekend and we can take a look and finalize this on Tuesday. Okay. So thank you for playing along. I do want to get into designing your life. So I hope you've had an opportunity to take a look at chapter 1 in the book. And so one of the things that I want to talk about is, and that they mentioned in the book, there's this whole idea is that we go back to the beginner's mind, right? Where you have curiosity and you don't necessarily have all the answers, searching for ideas and answers. And go back to the first day of class when we talked about this step between expansive and reductive thinking, where, you know, in picturing that young child that has all these aspirations and goals that are not filtered by the views and the lenses of a conservative or more reductive adult point of view. And that's the way that we want to approach moving forward. There are a lot of things that are impacting the decisions that you've already made about the classes you're taking, the major you're pursuing, what your interests are. We're going to take an opportunity here throughout the semester to set those aside, to understand, to be mindful of them, but to be free to be able to think about things outside of them, right? And to be curious about what else might lie there besides what you've already brought to the table. And one of the things that we want to do to be able to take a look at that and truly starting where we are, right? And I take this from last year's MLK symposium. Properly defining oneself is critical. Knowing who you are has a penetrating implications to what you can do and to your sanity. You've got to know who you are, right? And then the statement they make in the book, I should already know where I'm going. That is not true, right? You can have an idea, but don't feel like you have to. And that's fine, right? And then the reframe of that they talked about, you can't know where you were going until you know where you are. And that's what we're going to start to work out now. And this fits in, this whole idea of a gravity problem or an issue, a challenge, a problem that's not, is an issue, a challenge, a problem that is not actionable, right? And so what were some examples? What are some examples that you have or that they used in the book that would be a gravity problem that you are facing right now? What are some things that you're fussing with right now that are problems, but there's not things that you can change?
Maybe like the amount of work I'm assigned. Like I would like less work. It seems like something I don't really have any control over.
Coronavirus.
Yes, to both of those things, right? We would like to be together in class every single day with no restrictions like you were 2 years ago, right? That's a gravity problem for now, right? That's a gravity problem. We can do, and think about it, we can get around that, right? If we all gowned up and were socially distanced and wore high-level respirators, I mean, we could probably come up with a way to get around that. But for the most part, that is a gravity problem that you're all fussing right now, that we're all fussing with right now, right? And so the point that they make that I really appreciate is that the only response to a gravity problem is accepting it. It's not where you wish you were, not where you hope you are, not where you think you should be, but right where you are, right? And we talked about this early on with complementarity and this whole idea of awareness, and it's the accepted dilemma, right? We have to understand and accept and embrace that uncertainty. And then the other nice thing that I'll say is that, you know, I've talked about how it's important to stay and live within the problem, but once you realize that a problem is a gravity problem, you want to, term that I'm going to build on that we've had, is you want to fail fast, right? You want to recognize that the problem that you're pursuing is a gravity problem. It's not going to change. I'm not going to move up in a family-owned organization. I'm not going to move up in Under Armour because I'm not a man who went to the University of Maryland, right? That was the talk for the first 10 or 12 years of that company, right? That was a gravity problem. You just weren't going to do it, right? So the solution has to be actionable. So when I have asked you to talk about your goals in the class and I say, hey, this is what I'd like to do. I'd like you to set that goal up so that when we get to the end of the class, you're going to look back and be able to tell me whether you've reached it or not. That is an actionable goal. And if you can't create an actionable goal, it might be because you haven't thought of it, or it might be that it's not possible, right? And so we talk about this whole idea of where you are based on the dashboard in these 4 areas, right? Health, work, play, and love. And what we're going to ask you to do, what I'm going to ask you to do, is I'm going to ask you to go through the exercises in the book and to get a true accounting of how you are in all of these areas. I have a number of friends that are quite accomplished in how to teach and view and how they've demonstrated leadership. You know, friends that are generals in the Marine Corps, or, you know, female athletic director at a big school, that, you know, folks that really talk about leadership. And Jen Baker is the AD at Johns Hopkins. And one of the things that she talks about with leadership is that leadership is not aspirational, right? Your views and your values and the leadership traits that you have are not things that you hope to do, are not things that you're interested in, things that you've demonstrated. So when you're putting together this exercise over the weekend and you're working on your dashboard, what I'm going to ask you is, when you're defining the things that go into your health first, because health is our foundation, when you're together the things that you value, or the things that make up your work life or play or love, I'm going to ask you to be very literal. So not only to give an idea of where you think you are, but examples of why, right? These things are not aspirational, they are literal. And so I'm going to ask you to give a true rendering or account of what they are. There's some vulnerability involved in that, right? And we need to be in a, you know, this environment that is supportive, where we're not only providing confident answers, our an environment for other people to do so, to do that. So that will be my challenge to you in the worksheet and in the posting that that's going to go along with the worksheet that's due next Tuesday night, is to be very honest about this. And when you take a look at the dashboard, I'm going to pull up a worksheet that I posted on the Moodle page to help you with this. Not only am I going to have you check off where you are, but a few things about how it's going in each area. right? I'm really getting in, my work life is really going well. I've gotten into a routine and a disciplined routine to be able to do my homework and be able to get classes done, to be able to account and organize when things are due and what I have to do. My work is going really well. In fact, it's going better than it was a couple of weeks ago when I got here, right? And I bring that up because a number of you have stated being one of your challenges and things you were working on in the last post. They make a real big distinction in play, and I'm going to make this distinction because we're kind of thinking about this in a college context. I know that we have one varsity athlete in this, but if you play sports for a reason, and they make this case, if you play sports for a reason or competitive or for some particular outcome or merit, that is not play, right? That's part of your work. And again, I don't want to say that sports can't be joyful, but your work with students is the work that you're doing towards your academic degree for your requirements or things that you have to do where you are getting merit for them. Intramurals probably would be more play, right? Because the outcomes, you get an awesome t-shirt and your name on a trophy if you win intramurals. And there's not a lot of that going on right now, but that would be true play. So what are you doing to enjoy yourself? And how is love right now? A lot of us just are still on, a lot of time with our family. Maybe you're apart or with significant others. How is that all working out for you? So I'm going to pull this up. So I provided for you this worksheet that you can download, and it gives you an opportunity to create your current dashboard. Where do you think you are right now? How does it currently exist? Right? What do you observe about yourself in each of these areas? Right? And you can check those off. And then I'm going to ask you, if you can make one incremental adjustment, what would it be? Right? What would you like your dashboard to be? You might be somebody who has play with maybe only 1/4 full. Your love is a 1/2 or 3/4 full. Your work is all full. Your health is 3/4 full. You might decide that there's some more balance that you would like there. What's the incremental adjustment that you would like to make? Right? And keep in mind that, yeah, well, we would like everything to be full. If you add something, there is a good chance you might have to take something else away. And I want you to think, what would you get if you could make that change? And again, these things aren't aspirational. What would you do? Or what would it take for you to make this change? Right? So if you were to say we're back in regular times, I'm going to go to the FAC on Tuesdays and Thursdays in the 1.5-hour block between my 2 midday classes. That is an incremental change that you can make over the next 2 weeks that's probably attainable, that might improve your health or your play, however you want to look at it. I'm going to make sure that I reach out and I try to meet one person in each of my classes over the next 2 weeks. We'll know about them, what they're doing, what their injury is, how they're doing, right? And you can measure that so that you'll know 5 new people by the end of, well, 4, because you know everybody in this class, 4 or 5 new people. I'm looking for concrete, specific things that are there. And so I'm going to ask you to fill this out over the weekend, and then we're going to bring it back. The first thing that you're going to do, or the second thing, we might take a look at our statement here that we're working on, is I'm going to ask you to present how you are in each of those areas and why and what increment you might make. Right? We'll have a chance to practice some feedback, because feedback is going to be one of the other tasks over the weekend. And with that feedback, you will then be in a position to put together a forum post. If you want to do your forum post before Tuesday's class, you are more than welcome to do that. And to Alex's point, or excuse me, to Nick's point last class, the faster you do that, the more opportunity you will have to provide feedback and provide other people a chance to provide feedback on your post, right? So those should be up by Tuesday night. Nick, I'm going to come to you a little bit on this one. I'm going to accept entries until lunchtime the next day, right? So you've got to be up and have you posted by midnight on Tuesday. If you want to provide feedback to people before that, that's fine. If you're somebody who's, you put your post up at 11 o'clock and there's not really time to provide feedback to other people, I'm going to leave the forum open until noon on Wednesday. Please note, your forum has to be up by midnight on Tuesday night. I'm just giving you more, like to Nick's point last week, last class, I'm giving you an opportunity to provide and to get feedback a little bit more time. We'll see how that goes. Okay, so for next week, I'm going to have you start on the reading, Designing Your Life, chapters 2 and 3. One of those chapters is really short. And as you've seen, as you've read, the reading goes pretty quickly. Building a compass and wayfinding. I would like you to have a pretty good understanding of energy flow and engagement and defining the components of AEIOU. That's going to be a big piece as we start to get into storytelling next week. I'd like you to have your DYL dashboards completed and be prepared to share them in class on Tuesday. And I'm going to have you read the article on feedback by Chisholm. There are study questions in that document that I posted last week to help guide you on the feedback that will prepare us for our discussion. So we'll break out in small groups. I'll give you questions to address on your groups and we'll address that. And then we'll be able to apply those concepts of feedback right away as you're providing each other with feedback on your dashboards. Everybody clear on what we're doing? I do have a question. Has anybody talked to Aaron consistently, or do we know, is there a good way to get a hold of him? He's been around at one or two things, and we lose him. So I just want to make sure that, no student left behind. So if anybody has seen him, if you want to stick around after, we can talk about it or whatever. I just want to make sure that if he wants to be engaged
on social media, and I don't know, he's like in his house. I don't know much about him. We have a group
if
chat.
Somebody has.
We have a group chat together, but he never answers. Like he never texts back. But I don't know.
And I've reached out. So again, I don't want to kind of hold him out there. I just, one of our friends isn't here, and I want to make sure that if he's enrolled in classes, he's here, that he's part of what we're doing. So if anybody runs into him, just tell him to get with me. And if there's things going on too, your advisor as well as your professor in this class, I can kind of, for any of you, right? If you've got issues that are going on and I can help you engage with your other professors or with academic support or any of that stuff, please don't hesitate to reach out. The Jesuits put money in my bank account 2 times a month to do that, exactly that, and I enjoy it, so it works all right. Okay, everybody, have a great week. Appreciate the work today. Let me know if you have any questions. I will talk to you soon. Oh, and we're going to be meeting in the 4th hour on Tuesday. Don't forget your exercise on the racial justice definitions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Amani.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I just had a quick question.
Yes, ma'am.
Aside from this class, like talking to the advisor, so I'm taking University Singers. It's like the choral ensemble here. And the director said that I could add it in my schedule to get credit for it. I don't know if that's still possible because the deadline was like the 22nd, I think, or something like that. I mean, it's not
He's
necessary
right.
that I
It
add
is.
it, but
So it's going to be, so let me ask you a couple questions. Is this going to be a long-term endeavor for you, or are you going to sing the whole time that you're here?
I mean, I hope so. That's like what I plan to do. So I could just like add it next semester,
So
or like
I will
next
offer a couple.
semester.
Yeah, I was going to say, let's take a look at what your next semester is going to look like, because even if you do add it for credit, my sense is you can only do that once.
Okay.
Right, so you couldn't add like the same 3 credit course 6 more times, right? So if you can get credit, and maybe ask, the conductor or whoever's in charge of the group, how that works out. And I'm happy to look it up and make a note of this as we're looking towards it. If it has to be set up as an independent study, there's some criteria that we have to set up ahead of time for that we can certainly do. Just if you get a sense on it, but the add drop period has ended, so you cannot add any classes at this point.
Okay. I mean, that's fine. It was just like an extra, credit, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, I guess I'll just wait for next
Well, I'm glad you're still doing it. Are you guys meeting live or online? Are you guys meeting live thing or online?
Live. So we meet once a week for like 30 minutes, I think. Yeah. Which is
Where do you
nice.
meet? Someplace big?
In the McManus Theater, I think. Yeah, in one of the rooms.
Hey, I'm curious, what was the conversation like? You guys just decided not to go to the classroom today?
I don't know. Oh, yeah, I know. I think everyone just wanted to like stay in. I don't know. Yeah.
Makes sense.
But obviously we'll be there in person on Thursday.
All right, well, have a good weekend.
Thank you, you too.
Have a good weekend. Be safe, especially over the weekend.
Thank you, you too.
Okay, see ya.
Bye.